before we dive into the code, let me show you guys a quick demo of what we'll be building together. Here's the final version of the project, and by the end of this course, yours will look just like this. And the first thing we're going to be building right here in the website is our navigation bar up here. We're going to have a drop down on it to view different courses, subjects, and we're going to have the search bar next, become an instructor link, then the cart page link. Here we're going to have our login page and sign up page link, and we're going to have the logo right here. And after the navigation bar, we're going to jump right into building our hero section down here. As you can see, we have the text that says join us today is the head text alongside this one, and we also have the description text, then a search bar on the hero section. Then right after that, we're going to be building this section that displays what our website offers. Learn the essential skills, get ready for next career, and all that. So next, we're going to be building the top category section that shows what our website teaches: art and design, graphic design, marketing, development, data analysis, and all that. Then after that, we're going to be building the most popular courses section. We are going to have these tabs right here to navigate through different courses, and whenever you click on this, it should take us to an item page. We're going to be looking at that when we are done with this page that we are on. So right after this page, we're going to be building this become an instructor section. As you can see, we have a button right here that says start teaching today. We have the description text for this page, for this section. Then we have the offers for tutors. It's not any different from each other since it's not an official website yet. And on the right side, we have the image, then the next section. This looks just like this one. The only difference is that we swapped the image and the text position. So right here, it says transform access to education. This is for students. As you can see, this section is for the users who want to become teachers, and this section is for users who want to become students. So down here, we're going to have the testimonial section. In here, it says testimonial for the head text, and we have the description text here that says the ultimate platform for e-learning centers and online courses. Right here, we're going to have our testimonial cards. Inside the cards, we're going to have the image, the username, the user job, and the star ratings, then the testimonial text. This is going to be quite simple. And after this, we're going to be building our partners section that displays different partners of our website. And after this, we're going to be building the footer. As you can see, the footer down here should be quite easy. It's just made up of links, social buttons, and our logo right here, just like what you have on the navigation bar. So after this, the next page we're going to be looking at is our item page. Whenever you click on any of these cards, it should take us to the item page. And on the item page, we have our head text right here that says how to build a responsive website using React and Tailwind CSS. So down here, after that, we're going to have the about this course that describes what the course teaches. This is not exactly related to the title, so I just use a dummy text. Next, we're going to create this level right here that displays the level of people who should take the course. As you can see, it says pro. And next, we're going to have the course price, the course star rating, then the add cart button. Then on the right side, we're going to have the course review. It's going to be a short video where you can click play and see what the course is all about. Then right after that, we are going to create the course requirements card, which shows what you need to know in order to take the course: basic understanding of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, prior experience with React.js fundamentals, and all that. So it's going to also have this see more and see less feature. The next, we're going to be building the what you learn card that shows what you're going to learn and gain from the course. Build modern and responsive web applications using React.js, master React hooks like use states, use effects, and use context. And it's also going to have this feature for show more and show less. And after that, we're going to be building the instructor card right here that says James Maximus, the instructor name, pro instructor, the instructor level, 12 courses, 20,000 students, and 2,500 reviews. Then the instructor description: James Maximus has over 10 years of experience in the industry, teaching thousands of students worldwide. And we're also going to have the instructor image. Then after this, we're going to be creating this carousel down here that displays the courses you viewed previously. And it's also going to have navigation buttons. So at the right side, we're going to have this card that shows what the course includes: 22 hours on-demand video, 20 downloadable resources, access on mobile and TV, full lifetime access, and others. So inside the card, we're also going to have this button that says buy now, add to cart, and wishlist button. Right here, we're going to have the price, and down here, we're going to have share link, gift discourse, and apply coupon. Then down here, we're going to add our footer. So after this, the next page we're going to be looking at is the cart page right here. So you just have to click on this link and we're going to get right to the cart page. So on the cart page, we have 4 items already. We can increase the amount of items we want to purchase. We can reduce the amount. We can also delete the items. And as you can see, whenever we click on this button, it also increases the total price and the tax. Whenever we reduce, it also reduces the total price. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is the also viewed carousel, just like what you have on the item page. It shows the previous costs you've already viewed before, and this next carousel suggests costs that you might like, just like what you have up here. So after this, we're going to be building this footer down here, just like what you had on the landing page and on the item page. So this should be it for the cart page. After this, the next page we're going to be building is the login page. As you can see, it looks quite nice, and it's just made up of our head text, sign in with Google and sign in with Facebook button. And down here, we're going to be creating the sign up page next. So this button, this link is going to lead us to the sign up page. When we click on it, it should take us to the page that says sign up. And next, we're going to have the forgot password page right here. So that's it for our demo. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we begin, you need to make sure that you have the version of Node.js that is compatible with your system. Search for Node.js on your browser and click on the website. When you get here, you see this button right here that says download Node.js. Click on it and select a version that is compatible with your system. So the next thing we're going to install, which is another package, is Tailwind CSS. Search for Tailwind CSS on your browser and click on this link. When this opens, we can just click on Docs. This is what we're going to use. Tailwind CSS using Vite. So before we head over and download our Tailwind, let's install React first. Head over to your desktop and create a folder. The text should all be on lower cases, and you can just drag this and drop it right inside your code editor. When you do that, let's see, yes, this is the name, it's already open. Click on terminal, click on these 3 dots right here if you are using Visual Studio Code. Click on terminal and then new terminal. Next, we're going to head over to command prompt instead of PowerShell. Then you can kill the old terminals. We're going to kill this and this. So right inside here, we just have to run npm create vite at latest dot. So the reason for this dot is to create the React app right inside the folder we already have. So just hit enter and the process should begin. This is going to take a few minutes, so let's be patient. This is just what we want right here. As you can see, we already have our React app. So now we're going to select a framework. Since we are making use of React, we're just going to use our arrow keys to select React, and we're going to select JavaScript for the variant. Select JavaScript. Then this is all we need. So to see if our React app works, we're going to go ahead and run npm run dev. So let's see if it works. Vite is not recognized as an internal or batch. It seems we have a little problem. We forgot to run npm install. So let's run this first. Copy this by right clicking on it, paste and run npm install. This should fix the error. This is going to take a few minutes. Let's be patient. And now our npm install command have been completed. So the next thing we have to do is we're going to install our Tailwind before we run npm dev to check if our React app works. So let's head right back to the Tailwind CSS website. The first thing we're going to do right here is copy this command and run it in our terminal. So we're going to select it and use Ctrl+C. And now we're going to use Ctrl V to run it right here. Click on enter, and that should run the Tailwind command. Let's copy the next one. So here it says configure the Vite plugin and the Tailwind Vite plugin in your Vite configuration. Let's see what we have right now inside Vite config. So this is what we have right here. Let's see what we have to add. We have to add Tailwind CSS and define config. We already have that. So all we have to do is copy this one. Let's copy this and paste it right below the React import. And let's see what we have right inside here. What we need to add is this Tailwind right here. So copy this and add it beside the React right down here. Let's see if it's correct. It has to be inside the plugin, right inside here, and that should do it. Let's see what you have next. It says import Tailwind CSS. Add an import to your CSS file that imports Tailwind CSS. Copy this command, this CDN, copy it and paste it right inside your app.css or index.css. Anyone will work. So all we have to do is paste it right in here. Let's add it up there, and that should do it. So what you have next is npm run dev. If the command is complete, it's still running. Let's be patient. And now it seems our Tailwind command have been completed. All we have to do now is run npm run dev to open our website. And as you can see, the command have been completed. All we have to do is hover on this. When you hover on it, or you can just copy it and search for it in your browser. But I'm going to hover on this, then click on follow link, and it should open our app right here in our browser. Let's go ahead and look for our app.jx file, app.jsx. This is where we're going to experiment with our Tailwind CSS to check if it works. So let's wait for this to be completed. And as you can see, it works perfectly. All we have to do now is check if our Tailwind CSS works. So we're going to select one of these texts, add a class name to it. Let's add a class name, and right in here we're going to change the color with Tailwind CSS. Let's say text red 400. Let's see if it works. As you can see, the text has been changed to red. It works perfectly. Now we're going to go ahead and install the remaining packages we need. So after Tailwind CSS, we're going to install our fonts family. We're going to be using just so run Ctrl+C, then Ctrl+C and select Y to kill the terminal command. And what we're going to do next is run npm install add fonts source / just to install our just fonts. So after you've typed out your command like this, all you have to do is click on enter. This should install the just fonts, and that is perfect. Our fonts have been installed. So next we're going to install our React router DOM. We're going to be making use of React router instead of the regular anchor tag. So all you have to do is run npm install React router DOM. So click on enter to install the package, and let's be patient. It should install in some minutes, and that's perfect. Our React router have been installed. So what we have to install next is Swiper for our carousel. We're going to be using a carousel in the website. So let's run npm install Swiper. Click on enter to run the command. That is not what we want. We need npm install Swiper, and we're going to click enter to start the command. They should install in a few minutes, so let's be patient. And that is it. Our command have been completed. The next thing we have to install is React icons for the icons we are going to use in the project. So all you have to do is run npm install React icons and run the command. It's going to be installed in a few seconds. And as you can see, it's been completed. This is just what we want. Next, we're going to install Framer Motion for the animation in our website. So let's run npm install framer motion. This should take a few minutes, so let's be patient before the next command. Perfect. As you can see, it's been installed. So next, we're going to install React star ratings for the testimonial and other places where we're going to be using some star icons. So all we have to do is run npm install React star ratings and click on enter to run the command, and that's been completed. And as you can see, our last package have been installed. So now we can go ahead and start building our website. So the first one we're going to do is create a folder right inside our source folder. So right inside here, we're going to create another folder, and it's going to be called, let's call it components. Then right inside this folder, the first thing we're going to be creating in our website is the Navbar. So all we have to do is create a new file right inside the components, and it's going to be called navbar.jsx. I want you guys to pay attention to details so you don't make any mistake. As you can see, our N right here is an uppercase. So let's go ahead and click enter to create the file. So what you have to do next is import React right in here in the file. So let's minimize our terminal. Right here, we're going to import React. So let's say import React from, we're going to import React from React, and that should import React in our components. So let's go ahead and import our packages. The next thing we have to import after React is our use states. So all we have to do is put this React in curly braces and change the R to an uppercase. Then right beside it, we're going to import our use state just like this. That should do it. So before we continue, I want you guys to click on your main.jsx and make sure it looks exactly like this. And let's head over to app.jsx and set up our React router DOM. So what we want to do here is import. Let's import some packages for the router DOM. And the first one, we're going to say import browser router as router, and the next one is going to be routes. Then lastly, we're going to have route. So all these packages are coming from React router DOM. I want you to make sure this is correct. Then after that, we're going to import, I think we need React right here. Let's import React, and we don't need the use states. You can remove this use states. Let's go ahead and continue. After that, what we're going to do is export all our components from inside index.jsx right here in the components. So create a file right here, call it index.jsx, and right inside here, all we have to do is type in export. We're going to export every component, our Navbar components, the landing page when we create them, and the remaining components. So what I'm going to say is export default as Navbar, and it's going to be coming from /Navbar. And right inside here, we don't need to import our Navbar in app.jsx because we're just going to use it as a component in every file right here. Whenever we want to use our Navbar, we just have to get down to the component and then type in Navbar just like this, and our Navbar will appear right there. So we don't have to import it in app.jsx. So let's go ahead and continue with app.jsx. So what we have to do right here is set up our React router. All you have to do is type in router like this and then add a closing tag. Okay, it has to be closed exactly like this. Then right inside it, we're going to type in routes. I think there might be a problem. Yes, our R here is a lowercase, so change it to an uppercase and that should fix it. Then right inside here, we're going to have our first route. So let's type in route. So this first route is not going to have this closing tag like this. It's just going to be a single closing tag this. So let's type in route, and the path is going to be /. Path is just like href in HTML, it means the part of the link you want to travel to whenever you click on this particular link. So let's set the element. We don't have any elements yet apart from navbar, so we're going to create another element soon enough. So let's just set up our landing page right inside here. But to avoid any error, let's leave this empty for now and then create our landing page component first. So let's say landing page.jsx. Then right inside here, let's set up our landing page. Let's say import React. We need a curly braces. Let's say import React and use state. This is going to be use states from React. Then next, we're going to set up our landing page just like this. We're going to say const landing page, and it's just going to be like an arrow function from JavaScript, exactly like this. Then right inside here, we're going to have our return to display our elements in the browser. And outside here, we're going to export our landing page. We're going to say export defaults landing page. This is just so we'll be able to import it in other components and in other files. So next, we're going to export it from index.jsx, the one inside component. So all you have to do right here is export. You can just repeat this process and then change the name. So here we're going to have landing page, and right here we're going to have landing page once more. This does not look right. It's supposed to be landing page, not landfin. So let's rename it and change this, remove the F, and that should fix it. So let's see, update import for landing page, select yes, and that should fix every error. So let's see, error have been fixed. The remaining error is right here. We have to import landing page from components. So let's say import landing page from /components. We just have to use /component like this. It should work. So right in here, we're just going to type in landing page, and we're going to close it. So that should fix the error. Let's see what the remaining error is. The error is right here. Let's just create a div here, and that should fix the error. Let's type in landing page to signify that this is our landing page whenever we run the browser. So what you're going to do next is head over right back to our navbar and continue with the navbar. But before that, let's start up our browser and see what our website looks like right now. So let's head over to command prompt and kill the old terminal. Then we're going to run npm run dev, and as you can see, all you have to do is hover on this link and click on follow link, or you can copy the link and search for it on your browser. So let's see what we have. This is not working. Let's see. Let's head over back to navbar and continue with navbar. It might be the error. So all we have to do for this navbar now is import link. Link is just like an anchor tag in HTML. We're going to be using link instead of our anchor tag from HTML. So our link right here is going to be coming from, we're going to use a string, then right inside it we're going to have React router DOM. Then after that, we're going to import some icons we are going to be using in our navbar. So let's say import. If you remember, we installed some icon package at the beginning of this project. So let's say import ri search. We're going to be using search toolline, and the next icon is going to be ri shopping cart. We need shopping cart and shopping cart, and it's going to be shopping carts line. So the last icon here from remix icon is going to be ri menu. Let's see, that is an error. We're supposed to say ri menu 3 line, this one, and we're going to import some icons from Font Awesome, just one icon. Let's say import FA times, and this icon FA times is going to be coming from React icon slash Font Awesome. So before that, let me show you guys what this FA times is for. It's actually for our sidebar. This is exactly what this icon is going to be for. Whenever we collapse down to a smaller screen width right here and open our sidebar, this is the icon right here, and this is the shopping cart icon we imported, and right here we have the menu icon we imported, then lastly we have the search icon we imported. So let's continue with the navbar. The next thing we are going to import is another icon. We need one more icon from Font Awesome. Let's say FA chevron down. This is chevron down right here, and we're going to use it inside the sidebar right here. Whenever we toggle this drop down, this is the icon right here. So let's continue. The next thing we're going to create is an array for these links right here in our tooltip. So all we have to do is define the array. We're going to call it courses. Okay, let's call it course categories. Then right inside it, we're going to use strings to define the links. So the first one is going to be art and design. Then we need a comma right in front of every link. Don't make the mistake of not adding a comma here, because it's going to cause an error immediately. So the next string is going to be science. Then all we have to do is duplicate this about 7 times. Then the next one, we're going to need much more than that, but let's use this for now. The next one is going to be geography, and next we're going to have programming, and after that we're going to have mathematics, and next we need engineering right here. Engineering, this is going to be an E in engineering. Then after that we're going to have health and medicine. This is going to be lowercase, the E. So after that we need to have business and fitness. Then right down here we're going to have history, and after that we're going to have marketing. Then let's paste more of this once more, and after marketing we're going to have psychology. Then after that, right down here we need cyber security. Then right after this we're going to have law, and we're going to have AI and machine learning. Then right down here we're going to have data science. So just put data back here, and after that we're going to have music and audio production. Music and audio production. Then you can delete this, we don't need the last one. So let's go ahead and define our navbar components. So let's say const navbar. I'm going to be using an arrow function just like in JavaScript. So I'm going to say const navbar, and right here we're going to have our arrow function. So right inside here we're going to define our use state for the sidebar and the category drop down. So to define the use state, you just have to open this bracket right here, and right inside it we're going to say is sidebar open set. We need a comma right here. Set is sidebar open. Then we're going to say it's going to be equal to use state, and for now the state is going to be forced to close the sidebar by default. So the next state right here is going to be category. So we're going to say swap out the sidebar for category. So let's say category right here, and you can just copy this and do the same for our set. So just here we're going to say set is category open. and that should be enough. It's also going to be false. Then the next one is going to be our category drop down, one in the sidebar. So you can just copy this and paste it once more. Then right here we're going to have this category drop down. This is going to be drop down open. You can just copy this and swap it out for what we have right here, and that should do it. But here we're going to also have false. Yes, this is just what we want. Then after this, we're just going to go ahead and continue with our return to display our elements in the browser. So all you have to do is get right in here. But before that, we can go ahead and export our navbar. All you have to do is say export. Let's see, down here we're going to say export default navbar. So to remove this error, we just need to create our return right in here. So create the return and add a div. That should fix the error, but it seems there is still an error. I think this is the error. The export has to be right outside our const, so that should fix it. So after that, we can just go ahead and continue with the navbar. So to create our navbar, we're going to give some class to this div. So let's give the class name, and the class name here is going to be, let's use flex. We need some styles here. We need to flex items center to set our items exactly side by side. Then I'm going to say justify center to bring every element to the center of the container. And after that, we're going to say sticky, and width is going to be full. If you're wondering what sticky does, it just basically sets the sidebar to the top of the container. So no matter where we scroll to, just like this navigation bar right here, so no matter where we scroll to, the navigation bar sticks to the top of the website. So we're going to set top 0 to make sure that happens. And next, we're going to set C index to 100 to make sure no element overlaps our navigation bar. And next, we're going to set our background, the background of the navbar to #FFF, which is white. And after that, we're going to set the shadow to MD to put some shadow in our navigation bar. And now let's see what our navbar looks like. In here, you can just type in navbar. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like. It doesn't seem to be here yet. Let's make sure we are importing it in our landing page. So all you have to do is import navbar right here. So let's say import navbar from /navbar. So all you have to do is add navbar right here, and that should fix it. It doesn't seem to be here yet, guys. I think the problem might be from our app.jsx. So let's head over to app.jsx and correct this import right here. All you have to do is add /landing page, and that should fix it. So let's see if it works. I think it now works, and this is what we wanted, the navbar up here and the landing page down here. So let's continue. Let's head right back to the navbar. Then the next thing we'll have to do right here is continue with the navbar. So we're going to create a nav tag. So let's say nav, then it's going to have a class name. The class name here, we need some styles. It's going to be flex items center. The next I'm going to have width full, and max width is going to be 1400 px. If you're wondering what this max width is for, let me show you guys. It's just for this space right here. I'm setting the full max width to 1400 px. Then we're going to use mx auto, which is margin auto, to bring the container to the center. Sorry, the element to the center of our container. So all we have to do is set our max width. So 1400 px. It's just like the container class in Tailwind. So let's continue. After the max width, we need to set justify to between, space out every element in the container. Then next we're going to set cap to 3, and px is going to be 5, which is padding for left and right, and on md, which is from the medium width of our screen and above, px is going to be 10. Then after that, we're going to set py, which is the y-axis padding. It's going to be 4. And right inside here, we're going to add some elements. The first one is going to be span for the icon, for the logo text. Then right inside here, let's give some class name here for the span. So the class names we need here are going to be item flex, items, center. Also going to need LG, border, right, and border right, and border. The border color is going to be gray 400. So actually let's use 300. Then after that, we're going to set our main height, and it's going to be, let's set it to 40 px. After that, we're going to set the padding right to 7. Right in here, we're going to have our logo text, and it's going to be a link. So as I said before, this link is just like an anchor tag in HTML, and these two right inside it is just like the href. So right in here, we're going to have our text. It's going to be a h1. Then we're going to add some class name. Here we're going to say font bold, and the text is going to be XL. This is just basically the text size. So right inside here, we're going to have our text. So let's just say scale. Then we're going to have a span. If you're wondering what the extra span is for, it's just for, let's delete this. This span is to add this color text right here that says mine. If you notice, the mine is a different color. So all we have to do, let's see, we're going to place the mine text right inside here, and then give it a different class name. So here we're going to set the text color to purple 500, and that should do it. That is just what we want. Now let's remove the space, and that's perfect. So next we're going to create, let's see what we have next. We have the category drop down, so let's go ahead and create that. After the link, okay, after the span, not the link, after the span, we're going to create a div down here, and right inside this div, we're going to have a class name. The class name here is going to be relative and hidden. For now, we don't need the hidden. I'm going to remove it, but we are going to add it back later. All you have to do is remove this hidden. So the use of this hidden is to hide our tooltip till we hover on this link, then it appears. So let's go ahead and continue. We don't need the hidden for now, as I said. So the next thing we're going to do is define our on mouse hover. It's just like a function. So let's say, actually we're going to use on mouse enter, not mouse over. Let's say on mouse enter. So on mouse enter, we're going to define our arrow function, and this time around we're going to set is category open. So let's see, we're going to set it to true, and you can just repeat this once more, because this time around we're going to be setting on mouse leave. So let's say on mouse leave, we're going to say set is category open, so false. So guys, this is just like display none and display block. Whenever we hover on it, we're going to set the open to true, and whenever we leave, we're going to set the open to false. So let's see if that works. Let's set this to hidden, and right in here we're going to have, let's see, we're going to have our button. Let's say button, and the button here is going to have some classes. The first class here is going to be flex, and we're going to say items center. Flex and item center is going to set the icon, the menu icon, and the category text side by side, and cap is going to put some space right in between them. The next, we're going to have text, and it's going to be 1 AM to make the text look larger. Then after that, we're going to set cursor. We're going to set cursor to pointer to change the arrow, this arrow right here, to a finger whenever we hover on the link. So what we have to do right in here is add our icon. We're going to say ri menu. Let's say I'm going to use menu tree line. So this is just what we want. We need some class name. Okay, we don't need the class name. What we need is size for the icon. So the size is going to be 20. Then right down here, we're just going to add our category text. Let's see what it looks like. This is it right here. The hover does not work yet because we have not yet used map to define our array right here. So let's get down here and add the array to map. So let's say div. Then right inside here, we're going to have a class. The class here, this time around, we're going to be using a curly braces. So let's say absolute. We're going to use position absolute. And the z index is going to be 20. Left is going to be 0. Then the width here is going to be 250 px. This is going to be 250. Then next we're going to set the margin top to 3, and bg, which is background, is going to be white. You can use #fff just like this. It doesn't make any difference. So you can use #fff just like this. Then next we're going to set the shadow of the container to lg, and next we need rounded right here, and rounded is going to be md to make the container look curvy. After that, we're going to set the padding to 3, and transition right here is going to be all, and duration is going to be 300. After that, we're going to use ease in out to make the hover effect look smooth. So let's say ease in out, and next let's see what it looks like. This is our container right here. Let's go ahead and define our elements. So all you have to do is get right here after the easing out, and we're going to use the $sign. So here in our curly braces, then right inside it, we're going to say is category open. We're going to check if category is open. This is going to be a conditional statement. So we're going to say is category open, and if the category is open, opacity is going to be 100. I need you guys to pay attention. This simply means that if the category is open, our category container is going to be visible. So let's say translate y to 0. This makes it drop down from the top of our container if we hover on it, and we're going to set visibility to visible if the category is open, which means whenever we hover on it. Then next, we're going to set what happens if the category is not open. Opacity is going to be 0, which makes it invisible. Then translates right here, translates is going to be, let's set it to -5, which drags it to the top of the container, and visibility is going to be invisible. Now let's use map to add our items. All you have to do is get right inside here, and we're going to use a UL tag. Then the UL tag is going to have some classes, and right inside here we're going to use flex and flex col, which just basically means flex direction column in CSS. So next we're going to add some gap. The gap here is going to be 3, and padding left is going to be 4. After that, we're going to set margin top to 2, and max height right here is going to be 300 px. And after that, we're going to set our overflow to auto, and let's leave it as this for now. Now let's define our elements using map. So let's say course categories dot map. So guys, what this does is to iterate over the array and return every element based on whatever HTML element we use right inside here. I use a h1, use a div. Let's go ahead and continue for now. I'm going to explain in details as we move on. So let's say map, and right in here we're going to say category and index. This is going to be our special key. So let's use our arrow right here. This is going to be in my brackets, not the curly braces. So let's say li, and right in here we're going to set the key. The key right here is going to be index. All our elements are going to have a special key. So now let's use link, and the link right here is going to have a class name. So the class name here is going to be Let's set hover. This is just like the hover effect on in CSS. So let's set hover to text purple, and our hover color is going to be 500. Then the default color is going to be text gray 600. Then next one is set the cursor, not cursor here is going to be pointer. Now let's set our parts, which is just like to and href in HTML. So we're going to say to let's leave it empty. Then right here, let's see, right here we're going to define our category. Let's just say category like this, and let's see if it works. We need an E right here to avoid that error. You can just copy and paste to make sure there is no error. Now let's see if it works. And as you can see, this works perfectly well. This is just what we want. As you can see, it also hovers and remove every overflow. This is perfect. Now let's go ahead and continue. Let's see what we have next. So next we have our form right here. That should be easy. Let's go ahead and continue with the form. So right outside this div, this one, we're going to create a form tag, and this form tag, we don't need the action. You can remove the action, or you can just say submit. So let's add a class name to it. I'm going to say class name, and right in here the class name is going to be, let's say, hidden. And on LG we're going to have flex. This means that on a smaller screen width like this, on a smaller screen width, we're going to hide the form container. So let's continue. What we need next after flex is going to be width. I'm going to set the width to 500 px, and after that we're going to set position to relative. Then right inside the form container we need input, and this input here, the type is going to be text, and class name right here is going to be, we need a few styles for the class name. So we're going to say border and border 1, that is just like 1 px border, and the border color is going to be gray 300. Then after that we're going to set the text of our input. Text color is going to be gray 700, and after that we need to set the outline to none to remove the tick border whenever we click the focus, whenever we click on our input. So what you have to do next is set the width to full. So full in Tailwind is just like 100%. So next one set the padding to 4, and padding right is going to be 10. And after that we're going to set rounded to its px, which is just like border radius. Then right after that we're going to add some text to our placeholder. Let's say placeholder. Then here we're going to have, for the placeholder we're going to say search courses, and after that let's see what we have right here. As you can see, this is beginning to look beautiful. This is beginning to look like just what we want. Let's see what we have right here. Yes, that is just what we want. So after that, let's add our button, the search button. So let's say button just down here, and inside the button we're going to have our icon. We need an opening tag, and we're going to say ri search toLine. We need a closing tag here. The color here is going to be, let's say, hash 70, actually it's going to be 7d0ed2, and right here we're going to set the size of our icon to 22. Let's see what it looks like. That is just what we want. Now let's style the button itself. So for the button we just need to set position to absolute, and right is going to be 4. Then we're going to set text, so we don't need this text. What we need is height. It's going to be full and rounded top right. This is just like setting border radius for top right, so it's going to be 8 px. You can just do this once more and then set it for bottom right. So paste this once more and change the T to AB, which is bottom right. this is what we are trying to create. If we add a background right here, you'd notice that. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. We don't even actually need this if we're not going to be using a background color. So let's remove it. Now let's set transition to is in out, and next we're going to set duration to 0.3 seconds, and the cursor here is going to be pointer. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, it now looks exactly like what we have right here. That is just what we want. So the next thing we have right here is link that says become an instructor and our cat icon. So let's continue. So right outside the form, we're going to create our link tag, and we're going to give it a class name. So the class name here is going to be hidden LG block, and right here we're going to say white space no wrap, to make sure it doesn't wrap on smaller screen sizes. So after that, I'm just going to say hover, and whenever I hover on it, we're going to change the text color. So we're going to say hover text purple, then the purple color is going to be 500. Then the parts, we're going to say 2, and we're going to leave it empty. So right here we're going to add our text that says become an instructor. As you can see, that's just what we want. And after that, we're going to add our cat icon. So to add the cat icon, you just need to get right outside the link and create a div. This div is going to have a class name, and right inside here our styles are going to be flex items center. Flex is just like display flex in CSS, and item center is just like align items center. Then gap, our gap here is going to be 4, and main height is going to be, let's set it to 40 px. And right inside this div, we're going to have another link, and the link part, we're going to leave it empty for now. It's supposed to be cat, but we don't have our cat component yet. All we have to do is leave it empty for now. We need an equal to sign here. So let's continue. The class name here, it's going to be cursor pointer, and relative, position relative, then we need the padding to be 2. And right after that, we're going to set our icon, the shopping cart icon. So let's add an opening tag. So we're going to say RI shopping. We need the shopping cart line, and we need the closing tag. The color here is going to be #000, which is the black color. And then the size is going to be 25 to make the icon look big. So after that, we're going to set our span. We're setting this number right here. That's what we're going to do with the span, position absolute number. So I'm going to set span, and the class name is going to be flex, and after that we need items center, and we also need justify center. We need absolute for the position, and top is going to be -2px, and after that we need to set the right to -5px. Right after that, we're going to set the background of this span to purple 600. Then after that, we're going to set the text color to white, which is the text right inside it that says 10 right here. So let's continue. After this, we are going to set the text to SM, and font size here is going to be medium. Then we need to set the padding to 1.5, and rounded is going to be full to make the container look curvy. So after that, what we have to do is set our height to 20px. So that sets the height right here. So 20px, and width is going to be feet. So to make sure it fits any amount of number that goes inside that container. So what we have to do next is just add our number right inside here. I'm going to say 10. As you can see, that is just what we want. That looks perfect. So let's continue. Let's see what we have next right here. So right here we have the login and sign up, the button and the link, and this little border right here. So all we have to do is get right outside this link and create a button. So this button is going to have a class name. We're going to say LG class name. It's going to be, we're going to start with LG hidden, and next we're going to have cursor. The cursor here is going to be pointer, and after that we need to set and click. Let's see, this is actually the button that what you're creating right now is the button that appears whenever we are below this screen width of about 1000 px right here. So that is what we are creating. So let's go ahead and continue with it. Let's add our onClick. So we're going to say it's going to be outside the class. Let's say onClick, and onClick right here. Let's add it right in here. We're going to use our arrow function once more. Let's say set is sidebar open to true. So right inside our button, we're going to have our icon. Let's add our opening tag. We're going to have the icon. So the icon here is going to be RI menu 3 line. So let's set the color to #000, which is a black color, and the size is going to be 25. So let's add our closing tag. Then after this, we're going to, let's see what we have next. We're going to define it. Let's see if our sidebar works already. It doesn't work because we've not yet defined the sidebar. We haven't even added any elements right inside our sidebar. So let's continue for now. So after the button, we're going to create a span, and this span right here is going to hold our login link and the sign up button. So let's add a class name to it. So this class name right here is going to be hidden, and on LG we're going to have flex. Then after that we're going to say items center sets the login link and the sign up button side by side, and we're going to set the gap to 8. And after that we're going to set LG. On the larger screen we're going to have our border, this border right here. So let's set border left, and the padding left is going to be 5, and the border color, we set the border color right here. The border color, let's say border gray 300, and right after that we can go ahead and add our margin left to push our items away from the container and the border. So let's say margin left 5, and white space is going to be no wrap. So after that we can add our links right inside here. So let's say link, and the link here, we haven't created our login page yet for this project, but I have the login page right here. If you click on this link, you can easily access our login page. We're going to create it after we are done with everything right here. So let's go ahead and continue. So what we have to do right here is set to, and we're going to have an hash to make it empty, and class name right here is going to be, let's see, we need text LG, and font is going to be medium. Then after that we're going to set the hover color to text purple 500, and right inside here we're going to have our text that says, the text that says log in. To create our login link, our sign up link, all we have to do is repeat this process, but we're going to have some different styles. Now change this to sign up. So here we're going to say sign up, and the class name is going to be a bit different. We need the font medium. This hover now is going to be BG right here. That's no longer text. We need to have BG right there, and it's going to be 600. Then after that, we need to set text. The text here is going to be white, and font is going to be, we already have font medium. After that, what we need is px6, which is padding for left and right, and py2, which is padding for top and bottom. And when we set the rounded to MD, and next we're going to set the text to center, which is text align. In CSS, it just brings the text to the center of any container. So this is just what we want, but we still need to set, let's remove this hover. We don't need the hover, we just need the background to be purple by default. So let's see what we are going to have next. Now after this, we can go ahead and define our sidebar. So let's see. Let's go ahead and add our sidebar. As you can see, we are done with the navbar. This looks good, but we still need to update the fonts family next. But before that, we can go ahead and add our our sidebar. Now to create the sidebar, all you need is a div outside this nav tag. Make sure you are outside the nav tag. So right here is going to have a class name, and the class name here is going to be, let's say we are going to be using fixed for the position. We need the curly braces first, then inside here we're going to have fixed. I want you to make sure that you are not using a string after the curly braces. If you notice what I'm using here, it's not a string. So let's go ahead and continue. Here we're going to have top 0 and left is going to be 0. Then after that, we're going to set the height to 100 VH to make sure it sticks to the full height of our screen, no matter where we scroll to. So next, we're going to set the width to, let's set it to 80%, and on the smaller screen, we're going to set the width of our sidebar to 50%. Then on the medium screen, I'm going to set the width, let's see, on the medium screen, I'm going to set the width to 350 px. This is just a variation in our sidebar width to make it responsive. So after that, we're going to set the background to gray 900, and shadow here is going to be LG. We need a hyphen there, not an equal to sign. So after the shadow LG, we have to set the Z index to 50 to make sure it overlays every element in the browser. So we need to set the padding to 5 here, and transition here is going to be let's see, we need to set the transition to transform, and after that we're going to set the duration, which is just like setting a transition duration in CSS. So I'm going to set the duration to 300, and after that I'm going to use our dollar sign just like before. So let's use it to set our conditional statement. Here we're going to say is sidebar open by using our conditional statement once more. So if the sidebar is open, we're going to set translate, let's say translate x to 0 to make it appear, and if the sidebar is closed, which means whenever we click on the button to close the sidebar, we're going to set translate x to full. And now we can go ahead and define the elements that are right inside our sidebar. But before that, we can make sure it works. Let's set a h1 and say sidebar. Let's see if it works. This is it right here. It's not supposed to be like this. I don't think there is any problem. We can go ahead and continue with our sidebar. But if you guys notice, there is a shadow right here whenever we toggle our sidebar. Right here, there is this blur effect with a shadow. So to create that, we need to get right up here and create a div. So in this div, all we need is almost the same thing we have right here, but it's just going to be a bit different. So I'll just copy this and replace it with this div. So I'm going to change some things around. We don't need this width right here. We don't need all of them. You can remove this width and just set one single width. So the width here is going to be, let's set it to full, and the background here, let's see, we don't need this gray background. Background we need here is going to be hash 0000001B, and after that we're going to set, we don't need shadow also or the z index. What we need next, the shadow and the z index, we're going to delete the both of them. What we need is opacity, which is going to be, our opacity here is going to be 50. And what we need next, we need the transition. Our transition here is going to be opacity, and our duration is going to be, let's set it to 400. Then what we're going to set next here is the index, and it's going to be 40 to make sure the sidebar is at the top of the shadow. So what we're going to do next is set our insets. Let's set inset to 0, and our backdrop to make it, to add the blur effect right here. This blur effect is backdrop, so let's say we're going to say backdrop, and it's going to be blur sm. So let's see if that works. It doesn't work yet because we haven't toggled the sidebar. We can go ahead and continue, but we can use this shadow right here to close the sidebar. If you notice, whenever we click on the shadow, it closes the sidebar. So to add that feature, all we have to do is get right here, right down here, and say on click, and the on click here, let's see, we need a curly braces. Then right inside here, we're going to have a bracket with our arrow function. So we're going to say is set is sidebar open, so first, and that is just what we want, what we need to close the sidebar whenever we click on the shadow. So what we're going to do next is continue with our sidebar right down here. So inside the sidebar, we need to add some elements. The first one is just going to be this Qmine logo text we have right up here. So you can just copy this and add it once more. So add this right here, and you can continue. Let's see if it works. So that's our text right there. You can change the color to white, let's say text white, and that looks more better. So what we're going to do next is add our button. Let's see the button, the close button for the sidebar. So the close button right here. So to create the close button, we need a normal button tag. So with this button, we're going to add a class name, and the class name right inside it is going to be absolute, position absolute, and top is going to be 4, right is going to be 4, and cursor is going to be pointer. Then right inside it, we're going to have our icon. But before that, let's add our on click to close the sidebar whenever we click on the button. So let's say on click, and right inside here, we're going to say set is sidebar open. Or we need sidebar, not category. Set is sidebar open, and it's going to be false. So after that, we can add our icon right inside the button. So let's add an opening tag. We're going to say FA times for the icon, and our icon size, let's add a closing tag. The icon size is going to be 25, and color is going to be hash FFF. Now let's see what our button looks like. That's it right here. That's what we want. So let's see. After the button, I don't think this button should be inside this link. It has to be outside the link, not inside it, just like this. So that is much more like what we want. You can set the top to 6. Set the top to 6, and that should look more better. So after that, we're going to go ahead and define the remaining elements. These elements right here, the search bar, the category link, become an instructor, login, and sign up. So to do that, all we have to do is get right down here and create another nav tag. So right inside this one, we need a class name, which is going to have position relative, and height is going to be full. Then right here, we need the margin tab to be 10, and display is going to be flex, and flex direction is going to be column. we're just going to set it to flex color. That is an abbreviation for Tailwind. So the cap here is going to be 3 and text is going to be white. Then right after that, we're going to open up our nav tag and create our form right inside it. So we just basically need the form we used before, but we're going to change things around just a bit. So we can just copy this form we already have. We don't need to waste time to create another new one. So for this one, we're going to set the class. We don't need this hidden. We just need LG flex, and the width is going to be 100%. You can even just set it to full and 100% are just exactly the same thing. And position is also going to be relative. So here, the border, we also need the border. The border color is going to be gray, and the text color will not be gray this time around. So let's remove this, and we need the outline on the padding for the padding right is going to be 17, and the rounded is going to be 8px. So for the button, let's say we're going to change quite a few things for the button. Position is going to be absolute, and right is going to be 0. Now we need text 1 am. Text here is going to be 1 am, and height is going to be full. Next, we're going to set the background to purple. Let's see, the BG is going to be purple 500, and after that we need to set the PX to 5. That is padding for left and right. And now we need rounded top right to be 8px. This is what I was trying to show you guys before. This is border radius for top right, and we're also going to have border radius for bottom right. So all you have to do is paste this here and change the T to a B, and let's see what it looks like. As you can see, it's beginning to look like just what we have right there. This is the border radius for top right and border radius for bottom right. So let's continue. So after our border radius, we just need a few things right here. So the color here for our icon is going to be hash FFF, which is going to be white. Let's see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like right here, and this is what we have. As you can see, it's now the same. We don't need to add anything else. So we are done with the form container. We can move on to the next thing. So the next thing we need right here is going to be the category drop down right here. So to create that, let's see, to create that, we just need to get right outside our form here and create a div. And for the div, we need some styles. So we're going to say class name is equal to flex, and we're going to have flex call, and we're going to have cap, it's going to be 2. And the margin top here is going to be 10, and right inside here, I'm going to add our on click to toggle the drop down whenever we click on our button. So let's see, we need a curly braces first, then a bracket, and right inside here we're going to say set is category open, is category drop down open. So let's see, so is category drop down open. This means that whenever we click on it, it's going to toggle our category drop down, and we can even, I'm going to show you guys that we're going to use styles to toggle and rotate our, let me show you. We can rotate this icon whenever we click and open our drop down. So let's continue. So what we're going to do next is add our class name for the button. I'm going to style the button itself. So right inside here for the button, I think this is an error. We don't need to add an on-click to the div. We need the on-click in our button. So just grab this, delete it from the div, and add it to the button. That was an error. Add it to the button. This is what we need. So we're going to add some class name for our button. So let's say class name, and right here the class name we need is flex. Also going to need justify between. Then after that, we're going to set items, flex align items to center, and text here is going to be LG. Then after that, we're going to set fonts to medium. That's our font weight. And next one is set our hover effect. We don't really need this. We can leave this hover effect out. All we have to do next is set the width to full. to make it stretch to the full width of our screen, and text align is going to be left, and that is all we need. So right in here we can add our text and our icon. So here we're going to say category, and right here we can have our icon. So let's say FA chevron down, and that is what we need. So here we're going to set the icon color and our icon size. So right in here we just need to set the color. Let's see, let's set the color. So hash FFF, which is our white color, and next we're going to add our class name. Let's say class name, and the class name right here, we don't need this string. What we need right here is a parenthesis, and right in here we're going to say transition, and the transition right here is going to be transform, and after that we need to set our duration to 300. Then right in here, after the duration, we're going to have our dollar sign once more. So use our conditional statement. So for the conditional statement, what we need is category drop down open. So if the category drop down is open, we're going to rotate our icon. Let's say rotate 180, and if the category drop down is not open, let's add a semicolon right here. A semicolon, and if the category drop down is not open, and we're going to do nothing, which means we're just going to leave the string empty. So let's see if that works. So we don't have anything to open yet. Let's add our items right inside the category drop down before we can go ahead and continue with anything. So to create the drop down content, all we have to do is get right outside the button and create a div. And right inside our div, we're going to have the class. So the class right here, let's leave the class right outside for the div. So we're going to have a curly braces and a parenthesis right inside here. We're going to say overflow. It's going to be hidden, and then after our hidden, we're going to say transition max height, and we're going to set duration to 300. And after that, we're going to use our conditional statement once more. So let's just say we're going to add our dollar sign here. And we're going to say is category drop down open. So if the category drop down is open, our max height is going to be 500 px. But if the category drop down is not open, max height is going to be 0. So that is just what we want. Now we can go ahead and add our categories right in here. So all you have to do is what we already have right up here for that map. Let's look for it. Let's see. This is our category right here. So all you have to do is copy this and paste it in. You can copy this UL and paste it right in. So let's find it. This is it right here. So all you have to do is paste this right in here, and that should do it for our categories. So after that, you can go ahead and create the become an instructor text right here. That says become an instructor. So what we have to do for that is get right outside our div, this div right here, and create a link. So this link tag is going to have 2, and we're going to leave it empty just for now. Then the class name, let's see, the class name here is going to be text LG, and fonts weight is going to be medium. Then after that, we need to set our hover. So text bubble, and the hover color is going to be 500. Then right inside here, we can just say become an instructor, and that is all we want for the link. So right outside here, we're going to create our last elements, which are the buttons. So just here, let's create a div which is going to hold the login link and the login button, the sign up button. So for the div, we need a class name, and the class name right here is going to be absolute. Then we're going to have bottom, Our bottom here is going to be 20, and we need flex. Absolute and bottom drags both of our buttons to the bottom of the sidebar, and we're going to have flex for our display, and flex direction here is going to be column. Then after that, we're going to set items to center, and gap is going to be 2. Then the width is going to be full. So after that, we need 2 links. So you can just grab this and paste it 2 times, then change things around. So actually, let's create one, then we can change it to the second one. So for this first one, what we need, let's see, let's delete this. We don't need any of this apart from the background. So let's set hover text to BG, and font is also going to be medium. We need the width here to be full. Let's set width to full. Then after that, we're going to set let's see, I think we need this text LG, so let's add width full behind it. Let's get right in front of here and add our text white. The text here is going to be white, and font here is going to be, we already have font medium. So let's see, I don't think font medium will look good on it. We might need semi-bold, so let's continue for now. We can change things later. Let's add px6, and py here is going to be 3. Then we're going to add rounded MD to make it look a bit curvy. So next one is set text to center. Let's see what that looks like. I think that looks nice, but we need to change the color of our background to 600, and the text is going to be login. I think this looks better. So now all we have to do is copy this and paste it once more, and change the text here to sign up. As you can see, this is just beautiful. Now this is just what we want. Now we can go ahead and find out what the error is. If you notice, we are not able to toggle our drop down or toggle our sidebar. So let's go ahead and find out what the error is. Guys, I think we have some errors here. So the first one is our translate right here. We need to change this translate to an opacity. So what we need right here for our shadow is going to be an opacity. So the opacity here is going to be, let's just type in opacity, and we're going to have, let's say, opacity 200 visible if the sidebar is open. But if the sidebar is not open, here we are going to change this to opacity 0, and we're going to have invisible. So we're going to remove this padding, this P5, we don't need it, it's going to cause an error. And here we're going to say BG opacity, which is background opacity, not just opacity. And here what we need are 6 zeros, so let's check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's remove 1 to avoid any error. Then the next thing we have to do is right here. If you guys notice, I've been making a mistake all this while. All our on click are supposed to be uppercase for the C right here. So let's change all occurrences and change the C to an uppercase, and that should fix the error. And translate X right here is supposed to be minus translate X. So let's fix that and see if it works. So I think this should work perfectly. As you can see, this is just what we want for the sidebar. So guys, we are now done with the sidebar. Now we can go ahead and continue with our hero section. So let's see what this looks like. As you can see, this is just what we want for the sidebar. Okay, let's see if this category works. So as our category here works, but we need to reduce the max height to make sure it does not push other links down. Let's find it. This is it right here. So let's change the max height to 300 px. Let's refresh, and let's see, that does not work. I think the problem is because I used height instead of max h. This is Tailwind, not CSS. So we are supposed to use max h, not max height. So we need to reduce the height for our UL tag. So here we're just going to set the max height to 200, and here let's see what we have. It's beginning to look like what we want. So here all we have to do is set the text to white. And if you guys notice, our scroll bar right there does not look exactly like what we have here. Let's see, this is the type of beautiful scroll bar we have. So let's change it to what we want. All you have to do is head over to your app.css. Let's find it, app.css, and here we're going to add some styles. So let's just say dot scroll bar, and we're going to use our WebKit. Let's say WebKit, and we're going to say scroll bar, and this is supposed to be kit without an e, so that should fix it. Now we're going to set the width of the scroll bar to 8px, and right down here we just need to do the same thing, but we need a track right in front of it to style the track of our scroll bar. So here we're going to say track, and the track background is going to be, let's set the background to let's set it to hash 939393, and the border radius of the track is going to be 10px. And after that, we just need to do the same thing, and this time around we will be styling the thumb and background color of the thumb. Let's see, the background is going to be a purple color, so let's say hash 6b46c1. This okay, it's correct, there's no error. So next we're going to be styling the border radius of the thumb, so let's say 10px. And lastly, we're going to style the hover for the thumb, so let's say thumb we're going to have thumb hover, and right here when we hover on it, the background is going to be a bit different. So what we need here is the background. Let's paste this in. So for the background, what we need is hash 553c9a, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, we need to add the class first before any change can take place. So let's find our UL. It is right here, and we're going to add our scroll bar class right here. So let's just say scroll bar, and as you can see, it works perfectly well. This is just what we want, but we still need the border radius for the track. Let's find it. This is our track right here, so you can just copy this border radius and add it in. So that should fix it. As you can see, this now looks just like what we have right here. So guys, this is perfect. Now we can go ahead and continue with our hero section, but before that we need to find out what the problem is. If you notice, our font family is not exactly the same. I think I know what the problem is. We have not yet imported our just fonts in app.jsx, so all you have to do is say import, and right inside our string we're going to say at font source just. You can just copy and paste this font mod to import our font family, sorry, the font weight. So what we have to do right here is say /700.css, then right in here we're going to use our class and style to add our font family. So let's say font name, and the only class we need here is height. It's going to be 100 vh, and we're going to use style to add our font family. So let's say style, then right in here we're going to say fonts family, and for the font family all you have to do is add a semicolon, then right in here we're going to say just. This is our main font family, then sans serif in case just does not work. This is our fallback font, so this should work. As you can see, our font now works, and it looks exactly like what we have right here. This is beautiful, and as you can see, it's now responsive. This is just what we want for the sidebar and navbar. So now we can go ahead and continue with our hero section. So let's move over to our landing page and continue with the hero section. Guys, so I've made a little change to our hero section. So before we continue, I would like to show you what our hero section now looks like at the moment. I made it look a little more beautiful, and this is what it looks like now. So this is the next thing we're going to build: the head text, the form right here, just like what you have in the navigation bar. Then for the hero section, we're also going to create this text right here that symbolizes what you can learn on our website. Learn essential skills and certificates and degrees. Get ready for the next career. Master at different areas. And that's all we're going to do for the hero section. Now let's go ahead and continue. So this is our landing page. And if you're wondering why we don't have a particular component for the hero section, it's quite easy. The hero section is not just a component, it's inside our navbar, and right inside the navbar we have different parts. We have this hero section, we have the categories section, we have the most popular courses section, we have down here become an instructor section, we have the transform access to education section, then down here we have our testimonial right inside the landing page. We have the partner section. Then lastly, we have the footer. And after this, we are going to move on and build other pages. So let's go ahead and continue with the hero section. Let's delete this. We don't need it anymore. We're going to let's bring it back first. When we are done importing our packages, we can delete it. So what we need for this landing page, let's add our link. We're going to import link from. This is going to be coming from React router DOM. Then after that, we're going to import our background, this beautiful background right here, this cool image. So to import that image, all we have to do is define it with a name. So I'm going to call it hero bg, which is hero background, and it's going to be coming from dot slash let's bring it from, okay, we need to say dot slash assets slash backgrounds slash school. Let's see, I think I should have it right. I don't think it's here yet. Let me get the image. So all we have to do is get right inside this folder. I have the image right here, and this is the image we are looking for. I'm just going to copy that and paste it right inside my assets folder right here, and that should do it. So let's add our image. Now we're going to say slash school bg, and that should do it. Now we need some icons. We need the icon that I use right here for the button. So all we have to do is say import. We're going to be importing some other icons, so we're going to put this inside the curly braces. So we're going to say ri search to line. This is the icon we're going to be using, the search icon. Then after this, we can go ahead and continue with our hero section. So the first thing we're going to create here is a main tag right inside that div. So right in here, we can delete this and then create a main tag. Then inside this main tag, we're going to have our class. So we just need a few styles for the class, but we can leave the class out of the main tag for now, since we don't need any style for it. If we need to add a background to on top of this image, then we can add some classes to the main tag. So what we need next is a div, and this div is going to hold the image and other elements. Firstly, we're going to add the background image. Then this source right here is going to be our hero bg. It's going to be inside the curly braces. Then the image is going to have its own class name. So class name here, we are going to have absolute, which is the position. Then after this, we're going to set the width to full, which is 100%. And we're also going to set height to full, which is also 100%. Then we need to set the index to 10 to make sure every element in the website, every element in the hero section sits at the top of our image. So what we have to do next is set object fit to cover to make sure our image looks responsive. Now let's see if that works. I think there might be a little problem. Let's see what it is. Let's go to our console and find out what the error is. It says the requested module from index.jsx does not provide an export named default. The problem is from landing page line 6 right here. Let's see. I think we need to add that, and let's refresh. that fixed it. So that was the problem. Here it says class name, did you mean class name? Yes, we need to change this n to an uppercase, and that should fix that error. It seems we also have the error in another place. Let's find out where it is. It's supposed to be here. Let's look for it in Navbar. The error might be right here. I don't think there's any error for now. Let's continue to our landing page. So all we have to do next is style this div. So for this div, we have to say flex, and we're going to set the flex direction to column. Then next, we're going to set items to center. This is just basically align items to center. The next, we're going to set justify content to center. And after this, we have to set position to relative. Just say relative to make sure the image sticks to the center of this container. Then after that, we're going to set our mean height. So let's see, it's going to be 600 px, and from our small screen width, the height of this container is going to be 100 vh. Now let's see what it looks like. As you can see, this is beginning to look like just what we have right here. Now let's go ahead and continue. It seems the color of this thumb have not been changed yet. Let's look for it. This is it right here, the thumb. This should work, but I don't think it works. Let's find out what the problem is. Alright guys, I think I found the issue. So the issue must be from our Navbar. We added the scrollbar class right here in our sidebar, but we did not add it for the category in the navigation bar right here. So all you have to do is head right back to Navbar and find the first UL tag, add the scrollbar class to it, and that should fix it. This is just what we want. So we can go ahead and continue. Now for our landing page, the hero section, what we have next right here is this background that appears. Let's look for it. If you notice, this image is brighter than this, and this looks better because our text is white, and it will appear better on a darker background than a lighter background. So to achieve this shadow look, all we have to do is get down here after the image. So after the image, we're going to create a div, and right here we're going to have a class. This is going to be a single div without any elements inside it. So all we have to do is set position to absolute, and the z index here is going to be 20. Then we're going to set our width to full and height to full. After this, we're going to set let's say the background here is going to be, let's say we're going to set the background to hash. I'm going to say 000000093, and let's see if it works. I don't think this works. Let's make sure it's actually a color. So all you have to do is copy that color and paste it right here in your CSS to make sure the color works. Let's add an hash right in front of it, and as you can see, the color does not work, which means it's not actually a color. Let's find out what the problem is. Yes, I used too much zeros. So all you need is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, and that should do it. Now you have to comment that out to avoid any error. We don't need that. Now we can replace this with the color we copied, and that should work. As you can see, this looks as dark as what we have right here. Perfect. So we can go ahead and continue. The next thing we have to do is create this text content that we have in our hero section. So to create that, you need to get right outside the shadow div. Don't create anything inside the div. It's going to cause an error. So what we have next here is our class name, and right in here we're going to have flex, and LG here is going to be flex row, and after that we have to set flex column. This simply means that from the larger screens, our flex direction is going to be row, and the smaller screens, the flex direction is going to be column. So after that, we need to set our items to center, which is simply align items to center, and we're going to set justify content to center. What we need here is justify center, and after that we're going to set our LG
So start, as I explained before, this is not going to be LG start, it's going to be LG justify start. As I explained before, from the larger screen, which is from somewhere here, our justify content is going to be start, but from here downwards, the justify content is going to be center. So let me show you guys just what it does. If you notice, all our contents are at the start of the container, but from the smaller screens, they come to the center of the container just like this. So that's what we are trying to achieve. Now let's go ahead and continue. So right inside this div, we need some styles, and the styles we need some elements, not some styles, some elements inside here. But let's continue with our styles for now. So what we need next after that is going to be our gap. So I'm going to have a gap right here. It's going to be 10, and position is going to be relative. So just say relative. And after that, we need to set the width to full, and height is also going to be full. And after this, we need to set our mark switch once more. As I explained at the beginning of our project, this mark switch simply makes the website responsive. So we need mark switch and P3 for the padding. This is going to be PX, not just P. So after this, we're going to set SM to P5. So this simply means that from the smaller screens, our padding is going to be 5, and on the from SM, which is from somewhere here upward, padding is going to be 5. Then from here downward, padding is going to be 3, which makes the padding smaller on the smaller screen. So from MD, which is from the medium of our screen, from the middle of our screen, the padding is going to be 10, which is from somewhere here upwards, the padding is going to be 10. So let's go ahead and continue. Right in here, we're going to have a div, and it's going to have a class. The class here is going to be flex. Class here, we need an equal to right here. The class is going to be flex cool. Then right here, we're going to have items, start, and after that, we need to set text start, which brings every text to the start of our to the beginning of our container. And space here, we're going to see space y4, which adds a gap look like this. If you notice, there are some gaps right here that divides our elements from each other. That is this space right here, space y4. So next, we're going to set the z index to 20. Now we can continue and add our text. So right here, we're just going to type in our text. Let's say class name. If you notice, before we continue, let me show you guys something. If you notice, this text right here are using a different font family this time around. The font family here is now Poppins, while the font family here is just. So let's go ahead and install that. So right here in your terminal, use Ctrl+C to kill this command, and you can now say npm install font source. So let's make sure this is actually correct. Let's see what we used in the navbar. Let's find it. It's not here. It's going to be in app.jsx. This is it right here, font source. Yes, this is what we want. So let's go back to our command. So let's say npm install font. Actually, it's going to be at font source. Then we're going to say /plugins. You can do this for any font family you want to install. Just type in the name right here after font source slash, then hit enter to install your package fonts family. So let's be patient and wait for this installation to complete. But we don't just have to wait. We can copy this and import it in our landing page, add the font family, then whenever it's ready, we can use the font family. So here we're going to change this to Poppins. It seems our command has been completed. Now you can run npm run dev to open up our website once more. So just change this just to Poppins. Now let's head right back to our website. You can close this old one, we don't need it anymore. Now let's minimize our terminal. And we don't have to wait for that. We can continue with the style. let's add our font family right here. So to add the font family, all you have to say is style, then we need double curly braces, and we're going to say fonts family. Then right in here, we're going to add a semicolon. Then we're going to have our fonts right here. The first one is going to be Poppins. Then we're going to have sans serif as our fallback font in case Poppins does not work. So right in here, we're going to add our text, the text that says join us today to get, and let's see if it works. I don't think it works, and our text is nowhere to be found. I think the problem might be that this image and the shadow is right on top of our text, but let's find out what the problem is. I think our text have been there all this while, but it's too small and too dark to be noticed. That is our text right there. We don't have to change anything. All we have to do is add some styles to it to make it much more noticeable. All we have to do is on the larger screens, we're going to set the text size to text 2XL, and on our smaller screen, we're going to set the text size to text XL. Here, we're going to set the fonts to semi-bold, and the text color is going to be white. Now, that should make it much more noticeable. So that's fixed it. So to make the text look big, let's set the text to 3XL instead to make it look like just what we have right here. So you can go ahead and continue now. What we have next is our main text here that says 7,200 plus courses taught by 720 top instructors and institutions. So what we have to do is create a H1 tag, and right in here we're going to have our class name, and inside our class name we need to set text size to 4XL for the smaller screen. Then on the medium screen we're going to set text size to, let's say, 5XL. Then on the last screen I'm going to set, let me just show you guys what this does so you won't be confused. It just actually makes text responsive, so it doesn't remain large all across every screen width. If you notice, the text is responsive enough to adapt to any screen width and any screen size. So you can go ahead and continue if you understand. So after, on the larger screen, our text size here is going to be, let's say, text 6XL, and right here the text color is going to be white. We also need to set the font weight to bold, and after this we are going to set the max width of our text. Max width here is going to be, for smaller screens, max width is going to be full. Then for larger screens, max width is going to be, let's set it to 800 px. Let me show you guys what this does. It simply makes the text wrap like this. You will notice that if I remove this max width, the whole text will stretch to the full width of our screen, but that is not what we want. That will not look good. So max width prevents that. So the next we are going to do is set text wrap to balance. So let's say text wrap balance, and after this we'll set the leading. Leading here is going to be 50 px, and on our medium screen, this is for the small screens, I'm going to explain what leading does after this. So let's just set it on our medium screen and upward. Leading is going to be let's say 80 px. So let me show you guys. Leading is just basically the space in between the words right here. So each and every word right here is just this. Leading just works like line height in CSS. So let's go ahead and continue. So what we have to do right next, let's see. What we have next here is the text. So let's see, we have some colored text right here. That should not be so hard. So right inside the H1, all we have to do is create our span, and it's going to have a class. The class here is going to be text. Let's see, the colored text. Let's use hash. Let's use a purple color. It's going to be hash B958 F5. I think that should work, but let's add our text and make sure it works. Let's say 7,200 plus, and now let's see if it works. As you can see, that works. That is just what we want for the colored text. So after that, we're going to continue with the text. We're going to say courses dot by. If you're wondering why I added this works just like a break tag in HTML, but this time around, what this does is not to break text to another line. This just basically adds some space in between text. It works just like gap, adding an empty string with curly braces in between text. That is just what it does. So here we're going to create the span once more. I think I made a typographical error right there. All we have to do is change that to courses, and that should work. So let's continue. We don't need this space this time around, and the text right in here this time around, the number is going to be 720. So here the remaining text is going to be top. You can delete this and this. Here we're going to have top instructors and institutions. So let's see what it looks like. This is beautiful, and as you can see, it's now looking like just what we want. So let's continue with our text. Next, we're going to have another paragraph tag. So right inside the paragraph tag, I can just copy this text and paste it. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it right in here. Elevate your educational institution to new heights. So the class name right in here are going to have, let's set the text size. On our medium screen, the text size is going to be 2xn, and on a smaller screen width below medium, the text size is going to be XL. Then the color of our text is going to be gray 50. So let's continue. Let's see what we have next. So after this text right here, what I'm going to have next is this form container. That should be quite easy since we've already created something similar right here. Let's see. We can just copy what we have from the Navbar and then re-edit it to make it beautiful. We can create it from scratch since that would be more interesting. Once you can copy and paste and then change it around if you want to do that. So all we have to do here is create a form tag once more, and this form tag is going to have a class name. So let's say flex, and on our large screen the width is going to be fit, and on our little screens that are below LG, the width is going to be full. Then the position here is going to be relative. I'm going to explain what width fit does in a moment. So let's say relative for the position, and magenta up here is going to be 5. Now let me explain what this does. So basically, when you add width fit to a container, it means that whatever width the child takes, even though it's 500 px, 5000 px, the parent container is going to contain it perfectly without spilling any child elements. But when you set our parents container to a particular width, it does not exceed that width. So let's go ahead and continue. Right inside our form, we're going to have an input, and for this input, we need to add a class name right here, and the background here, we need an equal to. The background is going to be white. Let's see. Next, we're going to have a border, and then we're going to say border gray. The border color is going to be gray 300. And after that, we're going to set our text color. The text inside the input, the text color is going to be gray 700. And after that, we're going to set the outline to none. And let's see, we need to set the width to full. Then LG. On our larger screens, the mean width, let's see, mean width of this input, mean width is going to be, we need some space there, mean width is going to be 600 px, and padding right is going to be 19. Then padding left is going to be 4. Then lastly, we're going to add our py, which is padding for top and bottom. It's going to be 5. Rounded to make our our inputs look curvy. Rounded is going to be 8px. Let's see, 8px right here, and placeholder right here is going to be, let's say, text sm. This is just us styling our placeholder, which is this text right inside. Let's find it. The text right inside our input that says search courses, not the main text that appears whenever you type. So let's continue. I don't think our placeholder appears here yet because we haven't added a placeholder. All you have to do is get right outside your inputs class and add a placeholder like this. So all you have to do is type in placeholder, then type in whatever text you want as your placeholder. You can see search for more courses, search courses, or whatever. So I'm just going to say search courses, dot dot dot, and that should do it. That is just what you want right there. So let's go ahead and continue. So after this, we're going to continue to our placeholder text design. So on the smaller screens, placeholder text is SM, which makes it as small as this. But on the larger screens on LG, we want the placeholder text to be, we're going to set it to LG to make it look big. And that is just what we want. So now we can continue. Let's see what we have next after this. So I think we still have our button right here. We need to add the button. So to add the button, we need to get outside the input right here. So outside the input, we're going to create a button. It's going to have a class, not a console, a class, and the class here is going to be absolute. The position, sorry, not the class, the position here is going to be absolute, and right is going to be 0 to make it stick to the right side of the form in the form container. So height here is going to be full, and background, which I'm going to use an abbreviation in Tailwind, is going to be BG purple, and the purple is going to be 600. Then after this, we're going to set px to 5, which is padding for left and right, and rounded here is going to be not just rounded, we need rounded CR as we used in our navbar. This simply means rounded top right. So I don't think we use this. I was trying to explain at the beginning that using top right here adds border radius only to the top of the container. So let's see if that works. As you can see, we have a border radius right here only at the top of our button. So let's go ahead and continue. So after adding this, you can just copy this and paste it once more to add a border radius to the bottom. So let's say BR instead of TR, BR, and that should add the border radius to the bottom. So what we have to do next is add our text, and the text size here is going to be 1em, that's 12em, 1em, like that. Then after that, we're going to set our transition. So let's say transition, and the transition is going to be ease in out to make any hover effect smooth. And after that, we're going to set the duration of our hover effect. The duration is going to be 0.3 seconds. Then cursor here is going to be pointer. So right inside our button, all we need is our icon. If you notice, we have an icon right here, a search icon, the one we imported. So let's get right inside the button, and add our icon. We need an opening tag. Then right here, I'm going to say ri search to line. Then we're going to add our closing tag. Now let's add a little bit of style to the icon. The color, let's see, the color is going to be white, and the size here is going to be 25. Now let's see what it looks like. As you can see, this is now beginning to look like just what we want, but I think there is a little problem. I haven't changed the font family of our text right here, so that makes it not look good. And it seems tooltip is not working well. Whenever I hover right here, it appears. I'm going to find out what the error is soon enough. It's not supposed to appear till we hover on the button right here. So let's continue with this text for now. Let's head right back and add our font family right here. We have to just copy this and paste it beside the class of our h1 tag. Don't make any mistake, it's supposed to be beside the class of our h1 tag right here, and that should make it look like just what we want. But we still have a space right here beside the 720. Let's find the space. Let's add a space here, and that should fix it. As you can see, that's fixed it. So now let's go ahead and find out what this error is that makes our tooltip appear whenever we hover right here. That should not happen. It should only appear whenever we hover directly on the button. So let's find out what it is. I think I found the issue. So let's see. The problem is that we don't want this tooltip to appear until we scroll on the button, not right here. It seems our container is still available. It's supposed to be invisible. Let's look for it right here in our Navbar. So this is it right here. It's a typographical error, so I typed in invisible instead of invisible. So let's add an I right there, and that should fix it. Let's see. As you can see, it's been fixed. It does not appear till we hover right here. So that is just what we want. Now let's see if our hero section is responsive. And as you can see, it's responsive, but it seems we still need to bring everything to the center on a smaller screen. Everything here is supposed to be at the center. So let's look for it. Let's head right back and look for our container. This is it right here. LG, justify stats. Then from the smaller screen, we're going to have justify center. I think this is the error right here. I added justify center instead of center. So let's add etc right there. So that should fix it. So the next thing we want to add is our options right here. So to create that, all we have to do is get down here. Let's find it. We have to get down here after this div. So what we are looking for is this div that has 100 VH height. So let's find it. We're not even done with this div. We still have some styles to add right here. So this is what we are looking for right here. So after this div, we're going to add some styles later to that particular second div. After this one, we're going to create another div for the requirements. So let's create our div, and here we're going to have our class name. So right in here, we're going to say flex, then we're going to add items center for the align items. Actually, we're going to use start. Then after that, we're going to set justify content. Justify here is going to be start, and width is going to be full. This time around, width full is just like using 100% width, and the background we're going to say BG purple, and it's going to be 600. Then here we're going to add our P10 for the padding, and height is going to be full. Let's add our height right here beside the width. So height is going to be full. And after this, we're going to add some span right inside our div. So inside the div, let's add our class name for this span, and we're going to be using a grid to control the layout of these requirements. So actually, these are not going to be requirements. I keep misusing the name. This is supposed to be objectives, not necessarily requirements. So let's just go with requirements for now, since I've already given the array that name. Or we're going to create the array after this style. So let's continue. So on a smaller screen, our grid here is going to be column 2, and on the medium screen width, our grid is going to be grid calls for. Then on the ladder screen, our grid is going to be grid calls. Let's use 4. Then for the MD, we're going to change it to 2. So let's continue to our remaining styles. So right here, we need justify, start, and after that, we're going to set gap. So 10. Our gap here is going to be 10, and on the medium screen, gap is going to be 20, and max width here is going to be 1400 px, just like what we have in our hero section and in the navigation bar. So after that, we're going to set mx. So auto, that is, as I explained before, mx auto is just basically margin for left and right. That is mx for left and right. So we are saying mx auto to bring the content to the center of our container. Then the width here is going to be full. So we are supposed to define our elements right inside here using map, but we haven't created the array yet. All we have to do is get right up here and create our array outside here. So let's create the array. Let's call it requirements. So let's say const requirements, and then this is our array. We need to import some images for the array so we don't make any mistake. So the first image, we're going to call them scale image. So let's say import let's say scale image 1 from dot slash assets slash icons slash. We have 4 images. So the first one is going to be essential scale images. You can duplicate this 3 more times and then change things around. So we're going to have 2, 3, and 4. So let's change this. You can hold your alternate and click on them to select them at the same time. So we're going to delete all of this. We don't need the same images. We need different images. So here we're going to have slash certificate.png, and here we're going to have slash career upgrade.png, and lastly we're going to have career master.png. So that is what we want. Now let's go ahead and continue creating our array. So for the array, we're going to have an image inside our array, and we're just going to use the image we imported. So the first one is going to be scale image 1. The next, we're going to add the title. So our first title here is going to be N certificates and degrees. I don't know, I think I've made a little mistake. This has to be inside a curly braces like this, and that should be the mistake I made, and that should fix the error. So we can repeat this 3 more times. 1, 2, and 3. So here we're going to have 2, image 2, here we're going to have image 3, and here we're going to have image 4. So for the first one, we need to change the text. The text here is going to be learn the essential. This is going to be an uppercase, and here we're going to have skills, learn essential skills. Then down here we're going to have, let's delete this, we're going to have get ready for the next career. And lastly, we're going to have, let's delete this one, we're going to have master at different areas. Let's see. I don't think anything will appear here yet since we've not used map to define them. Let's go ahead and define our array right in here to make it look just like this. This is what we are trying to create. So what we have to do next is use our let's say we're going to have this inside the curly braces. We're going to say requirements dot map. Then in here we're going to have two brackets, then we're going to call them requirements, and then we're going to have our index for the key. All our elements are going to have a specific key, so that is what index is for. And all the elements are going to be a div. I'm going to be using a div, and this div is going to have a key, which is the index we just imported. So let's use index for the key. Then our class name here is going to be, let's say, flex, then items center, and after that we're going to have gap 4. Then right in here we're going to have our image. Let's see, the source is going to be requirements dot img. So guys, what we are doing right now is iterating over this array and getting every element into one single div. This will be iterated till every element have been represented by a div. If you notice, I'm saying requirements.image. I'm not calling out any specific image. What it does, requirement.image, is to select every image and return them inside an image tag one by one without missing any of them. So it just works automatically. So right in here, we're going to add a class name to our div, our image. For the alternate, you can easily use, let's say, requirements dot, let's say, requirements dot, let's use title. That will make things complicated, I know, but it will make things complicated because if the image is not available, the long title will appear there and that will not look good. So we can just leave the alternate empty so it doesn't look bad whenever an image is not available. So for the class name, all we have to do is add flex items center, and here we're going to have gap 4. Then right after this, we're going to, let's see, actually I just made a mistake. This class name here belongs to this div. This is a mistake. What we need here is a little bit of different class. So what we need here is width. The width here is going to be 60px, and brightness. I'm going to explain what this brightness does just now, but before we add it, let me go ahead and explain. So our images should be there. Let's add the title first. Let's add a p tag, and right in here we're going to have the class, and for the class we need a color. The text color is going to be white. Then right in here we're going to say requirements with a curly braces. So I'm going to say requirements dot title. Let's see, it doesn't seem to work. I think there might be a little problem. Let's find out what it is. I think I just found the error. Right here we're supposed to use a bracket, not the curly braces. So let's delete the curly braces and add our brackets. So we're going to delete this one right here, then put our elements right inside the brackets, and that should fix the error. So let's go ahead and refresh. And as you can see, this is just what we want. So now I'm going to go ahead and explain what the brightness and invert does. So with the brightness, we can change the color of our image just like in CSS, brightness and invert. So I'm going to set the brightness to 0, and I'm going to add invert, and that should make our image white just like what we have right here. So as you can see, it's responsive down here, and as you can see, we're now done with our hero section. We can now go ahead and continue. Next, we are going to be building our category section. You can see right here, top categories. This looks quite beautiful. We also need an array to build this, but it shouldn't be so hard since it's just like what we have right here, an array with an image and a text. So it's not going to be hard. Let's go ahead and continue with our category section.